Well, we're back with you, and we have a setup here to simulate what's going on in the vehicle, so a lot easier for you to see starter solenoid testing. I have a battery positive, battery negative. So this starter is hooked up just like it would be on the vehicle, complete with a switch wire that's going, instead of to the ignition switch through the neutral safety switch, it's going to my little jump start switch here. Now, what we're going to do is, if we have a problem with the starting circuit, and first, let's just say you hit the key and nothing happens. Well, the first place you'd want to go is to the battery, of course, which we've already done. Do a battery test. But let's say you have 12.6 volts at the battery. Cables look good. You follow the cables the best you can from top side over the fender down to the starter. The ground cable looked okay to the frame, and the big battery cable to the starter looked fine. What's the next step? Well, lift the vehicle up and see what's going on with that switch input to the starter solenoid. What you would do is you would take your meter, connect to ground on DC volts with the black lead, and the red lead, see if you're getting any power from the main cable of the battery positive down to the starter motor. Without having to do any kind of switch activation, just do that. And it looks like we've got battery voltage. Meter showing 12.5 volts. Now the next step would be to move your red lead of your meter over to the switch terminal, making sure the vehicle is in neutral, or preferably park, or it's in neutral if it's a manual transmission and the wheels are blocked. And then have somebody hit the starter switch and see what the meter's doing. In our case, everything's hooked up and working properly. And when we do this, we'll see the voltage drop to whatever the battery voltage is dropping to. Now, if we had a problem, we hit the key and we didn't see any voltage on the meter between ground and the switch terminal, we're not getting any power down to the starter. So then we start looking for neutral safety switches, vehicle theft deterrents, starter inhibit relays, things like that. So get your schematic out and look between that ignition switch and that starter solenoid and see what is all in the switch circuit. Now, if we are getting signal down there, but we don't even hear a click, we do see 12 volts when we hit the ignition switch to crank, then we've got a problem with our starter solenoid. The starter solenoid is just plain open. Now, if we want to do some voltage drop tests, let's say we have some slow cranking speeds or intermittent clicking or something like that, what we want to do is, number one, check the voltage drop between these two terminals. This is the hot all the time terminal that comes from the battery positive. This is the terminal that when the solenoid is activated, the big heavy copper contact, the round disc inside the solenoid, is pulled up against these two contacts and connects them together. We want to see what kind of drop we're getting across the solenoid in that regard. So let's go ahead and go positive to the most positive of the 2 points here. That would be the one closer to the battery cable. And let's go with negative over on the side that supplies voltage once the solenoid contacts are shut into the starter motor itself. We'll hold on to the starter and hit our switch input. We're getting power into here, activating the solenoid, and we should see continuity between these 2 points, and we'll see the voltage drop. Now in our simulation here, we've got very good voltage drop, 0.01. In the real world, with a starter with battery cables much longer than this, you might see 0.1 at the most. 0.1 per connection is a rule of thumb. It's a little on the high side. If you had 4 or 5 connections, you could lose half a volt. But no more than 0.1 volt per connection is what you're looking for. The voltage drop across these 2 points on this new starter solenoid look pretty good. If we'd have seen, let's say, 3 or 4 volts or even 1 or 2 volts across these 2 points when you went to crank the starter, that'd be time to replace the starter and or solenoid, the solenoid of course being the fault. So that pretty much wraps up our topic of the starter motor. We've seen how the starter works, different types of starters, and how to provide proper diagnostics both on and off the vehicle.